Good morning. It's November 4th, 2020, and the race to 270 is still on as Americans await the results from the presidential election. As of Wednesday morning, Joe Biden has at 238 electoral college votes with President Donald Trump at 213. I'm Catherine Ross, and I'm joined by Jim Cramer. Jim, what kind of approach are you taking with the market as we await an election result?
Well, look, I think that the market's up big because they love the market participants love the fact that the Senate is staying red. So there's no blue wave. And so therefore buyers have come back. It also makes it entirely possible that with Biden, if Biden gets in, it doesn't matter. He can't wreck capital gains by taking the rates up. So a lot of people want to get back into the growth stocks that have been hurt so bad by people presuming that Biden might get the blue wave and that rates would go up. But that's no longer the case. So, I mean, you're seeing the Trump stocks go down, and there are not that many Trump stocks out there because the tariffs only affected some companies. And you're seeing almost everything else go up and it going up to the point where it's willy nilly. And The NASDAQ is up more than I've ever seen it. I think I can't recall when it was up this much. So we're scaling out of some things. You just don't let this opportunity after you put a huge amount of money to work. You don't let this opportunity go. You have to take advantage of it.
So you're taking advantage of it. What other advice do you have for investors?
Well, I mean, understand that the blue wave would have been a victory for the hard left. There had been a belief that maybe the hard left was an ascendant and that Trump was on the decline. I know this sounds strange because the country's so polarized, but the fact that we don't have an answer about who's president is oddly considered okay. One, because Trump is considered to be status quo, where stocks have been good, and the other is because Biden is considered to be less erratic, and his lack of erratic behavior coupled with the Senate being Republican is probably ideal for the stock market. I think people don't understand that if the Senate had gone Democrat, then you might have a man who is erratic, not erratic, but was be forceful and make changes that could affect the stock market. But he would be ineffectual given the fact that the Republicans are still in charge of the Senate.
Jim, let's circle back to the NASDAQ. In futures last night, the NASDAQ was soaring. I mean, even in open trading today, it's 10:38 a.m. and it's up 3.4%. Why is the NASDAQ leading so much?
Well, then that's where the profits are. I mean, one of the things that one of the things that just there was a piece out this week that I belittled, and it was about how it was time to sell high growth and go into value. And I said that one part, there's high growth, there's high growth, there's value, and there's no growth. I felt that they were leading you toward no growth, which is, I mean, no value. I mean, no value, no growth. Growth is necessary. You don't want to buy stocks that have no growth. You don't want to buy stocks that have value but no catalyst. And you certainly do not want to buy stocks that have no value. So the market is spoken that it's going to go back to the stocks that everybody loved because there's not going to be a big wave of capital gains. Get in there and bid them up via the futures. This is not individual stock buying. You typically would not see Facebook up 19. I would actually sell some Facebook. We're in a moment, Catherine, where you must understand the futures are entirely in charge. The ETFs are entirely in charge, and what the futures and ETFs are saying is there is no victory by the hard left, and that is very good for stocks.
You've been investing for decades. How does this election stand out for you?
Well, this is an election where the Democrats really hate Trump, and the people who back Trump have total contempt for the Democrats. That's not been the case. I mean, all my life, I mean, even when Barry Goldwater ran in '64, I was very political even as a little boy. Even when Barry Goldwater ran in '64 versus Johnson, and Goldwater's view of the world was completely different from Johnson's. Goldwater did not hesitate to work with Johnson on different issues. And the Republicans, as much as they were not necessarily as aggressive about integration, still worked with the Democrats. Here, this is just chaos. But you want chaos with a gentle face, you get it with Biden, and you want chaos with histrionics, you get it with Trump. Now, before we say that histrionics is an inflamed term, I worked with Trump. It's not like I'm like making it up. I worked with Trump, and he loved chaos. He loved it. Now you can say it's just TV, but there's been nothing that indicates that there's anything other than a TV president, and he took it incredibly seriously. How many of you who are critical of me right now for saying that he likes histrionics have ever worked for him like I have? That's his stock in trade, and I think there are plenty of people who are tired of it. But there's also plenty of people who hate each other. The people who are tired of histrionics are speaking right now in the stock market. The people who don't like him, they they lost, and or if Biden wins, of course they won. But that's separate entirely from the stock market. The stock market is saying things could be less erratic and less left right, particularly hard left, and the market likes that.
Jim, you just said that stimulus is, or that the blue wave is actually good for the stock market. Now, I want to put that in terms of stimulus
The
because
loss of the blue wave,
the loss of the blue wave is
a
good
blue
for the
wave's
stock market.
bad. Blue wave's bad because a blue
So,
wave means the hard left is won. That's not going to happen.
so with that not being on the table, I have to ask in terms of stimulus, which the market does want, is that still going to be top of mind for investors
Yeah,
once we
there'll
get an
still be
election result?
stimulus. There'll still be stimulus. It'll be led, I think, in a very matter of fact way by Secretary Mnuchin, with Speaker Pelosi, if she's still willing to talk to them. It's entirely possible she won't. But I think that she wants to put money in. She wants to put some dinner on the table. The 13 to 14 million people might think are going to lose their jobs in the next 3 months because of hospitality and the cold weather, and because COVID is running rampant. And I think it's important to remember we did not solve COVID last night. That was not on the table. It wasn't on the ballot. COVID is here.
Looking at the path to a presidency, Biden does have more past than President Trump. So how should investors approach healthcare stocks right now?
Healthcare stocks are just buys. I mean, historically, ever since 1992, the healthcare stocks go down after somebody's elected and then rally. Well, they went down before because they, like everything else, like last week was really interesting. They anticipated everything. So then when the decline didn't occur, they had to come in and buy. That's continued today. And I think that other than a handful of stocks like Caterpillar that was bid up on China and infrastructure, I don't know what the hell Cat was bid up for, but 3M, the 3M and Cat are both China stocks. We're seeing very good results, and I would caution people that when the market's up this much, you should try to be getting out of the stocks that you don't like. That's what we're doing for Action Alerts.
Jim, I want to play out two scenarios with you around the auto industry. One, let's say that that the next president is President Biden. What's the future of electric vehicles?
Under Biden, the future would be advanced. He could do a lot of different things that would make it so that there'd be more incentives, and so you would have been able to say that you would speed up the demise of the carbon stocks. I don't know, maybe by about 5 years. I mean, it's happening on its own, but you could really put your pedal to the metal.
And if President Trump is reelected, what's the future of the U.S. automakers?
Well, he doesn't like the automakers because they're kowtowing to China. He doesn't like them because he had a bad experience with them moving to Mexico, particularly with Mary Barr, who I thought was very courageous, by the way. And so he's just bad for the autos. I mean, he negotiated this deal with Korea. Everybody's so happy about that there, but Korea's allowed to dump all they want, it seems. So it's suboptimal with these auto companies.
You named three stocks, Take-Two, Starbucks, and Pepsi, to watch after the election in your October 8 Action Alerts Plus call. You were watching these stocks before the election, so are you still watching them now?
Oh, yeah. Take-Two's up 6. Pepsi is up 3. J&J which lost its big suit last night and had to pay $2 billion. And I don't think it's the end of the lawsuits involving talc, which I don't like. That's up three. These are all reasonably priced stocks. I recognize that, but I don't think they're the future, and I just don't.
With New Jersey, Arizona, Montana, and South Dakota legalizing recreational marijuana sales for adults, does this change your view on cannabis stocks?
I thought it was very bullish. The the only ones that there's a I have Canopy growth. The problem with tonight, the problem with the stocks is that even though the states want it, if it had been a national mandate from the White House, with the Senate agreeing, then we might have been able to make it so that a stock like Canopy would be going up and not down. Uh, but Canopy's down 8% because people feel that they don't have a friend in the White House. Canopy's saying that Trump won, by the way. I don't know what people, what the market thinks.
All right, and with that, Jim Cramer and I are heading on over to our actionalertsplus.com for our exclusive members only show, which you're not going to want to miss after today. With that, I'm Katherine Ross, and I'll see you tomorrow.